watch nerds, welcome to my channel and welcome to what I consider to be St Martin's best ever watch. Buying a St Martin watch always puts a smile on my face, and I'll tell you why. The so-called Swiss made watch, and Swiss made is always up for debate, have a similar quality and finish. It's going to cost you around about 4 times as much. That said, the residual value is better, and that should be taken into account, I suppose. The SN0144, and it's a pity St Martin watches don't have proper names. It's one of their original designs, and it comes in either a 36mm version, a 39mm version, or a 42mm version, and you have the choice of either a red, a blue, or this gorgeous orange. Now this has got the 36mm case, which in my opinion makes it a dressy garter, rather than an out and out garter if you see what I mean. But even at 36mm, it's got a fair bit of wrist presence. Now to be honest, I can't see them selling many of the 42mm size, but I may well be mistaken. Now this is it on my 17cm wrist. And welcome to my unpaid and unsponsored review of the St Martin SN0144. For at least a year or so this has been their packaging. Version 1 was just a generic plastic case, used by many AliExpress brands. Version 2 was a rather large cylindrical plastic case. But this One Watch travel case is by far their nicest. Inside is an instruction manual nobody reads, a 2-year warranty, and a few tools. And this is my watch of the day. It's the Dorenzo DRZ02R. And what a cracker. As usual, I'll start with the dimensions. But like I've already said, there are 2 other sizes. Well, this has got a case size of 36mm, a lug width of 20mm, a depth of a nice slim 10mm, which includes a flat sapphire crystal with AR coating, and a lug to lug of just 43mm. Which increases to 47mm if you include the male end link. Now once adjusted to fit my 17cm wrist, it weighs in at 118 grams. In my opinion, this 36mm version wears a little larger, probably around about 37mm. In my opinion, St Martin could have saved themselves some money by just making a 38mm version and a 41mm version, rather than those 3 sizes. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. With regards to which size to go for, and I accept this is very subjective, I suggest the 36mm version will fit wrists of up to 7 inches. A 38mm version would be more suitable for wrists between 6.5 and 7.5 inches. But if you fancy the 42, I think you really need a wrist size of at least 7.5 inches. To my knowledge, and let me know if I'm wrong, this is St Martin's first model with a MyOta 9000 series movement inside. And as this has got a date window, it's the 9015. Now this is a step up to the Seiko N8 series of movements, and whilst those movements are very good, these are better. They're slimmer and they've got better positional variance, which basically means if regulated correctly, they tend to be more accurate. They also have a smoother 4Hz sweep, which means the movement beats away at 28,800 beats per hour. Needless to say, it hacks and it hand winds, and this calibre is known for its robustness and reliability. For what it's worth, the power reserve is around about 41 hours. In real life, this is running at about 0 seconds per day, which is amazing. But let's see what it looks like on the time grapher. And there we are, a perfect beat error, a very good amplitude, and a more than respectable rate. The 5.5mm crown on this 36mm dialed version is signed. It screws down to aid its claimed 100 metres of water resistance, is beautifully engineered, operates the movement perfectly, and the engagement is excellent, although not buttery smooth. This is what St Martin called the Zhanzan dial, which is a type of Chinese enamel, and it's nice to see the brand is showing off its heritage and not pretending to be European. Like I said earlier, this has got the gradient orange dial. There is a minute track on the outer, which leads into some simple stick indices. Under the 12 o'clock is the St Martin hex, which I've never been the greatest fan of, and above the framed and coloured match date window at the 6 o'clock, it simply reads automatic with the water resistance below that. The indices and simple stick hands are filled with BGW9X1 lume, which is apparently a step up to BGW9. For this type of watch, it glows nicely and it easily lasts a night. So here is the lume. Like all San Martin watches, the case finishing is superb, and I'm not exaggerating when I say it matches that of luxury watches. In fact, because it isn't Japanese, we can't call the brushing Zaratsu, but in reality, the techniques San Martin use are very similar. It's got a combination of fine and satin brushing, accompanied by some high polishing on the transitions. Now I'm going to give you a few seconds to have a look. What really pleases me is that San Martin haven't left the case back plain, and there is some nice deep etched katakana, which is Chinese writing by the way, which I believe reads San Martin. It screws down as you can see, and there is some basic information around the outside. So we've established the watch has got an excellent movement, a gorgeous style and a fantastic case back. So what about the bracelet and the clasp? Well, you won't be disappointed. This is the first time San Martin have used this bracelet. Now it's a type of oyster style, only the centre links are raised and the chamfers are highly polished. Now it tapers down from 20mm to 17mm, then back up to 18mm for the clasp. There are some well engineered screw pins for adjustment, but surprisingly no quick release spring bars. That said, who would take this bracelet off and put a strap on? I certainly wouldn't. The solid end links fit perfectly to the case, and when I say perfectly, I don't think I've ever seen end links fit this well. Anyway, the clasp has got San Martin's new on-the-fly adjustment, which is similar to a glide lock system. The old clasp was excellent, but this one's even better. Needless to say, it's milled, and like the case, it's beautifully finished, and of course it's got the San Martin hex. All in all, this bracelet and the clasp wouldn't look out of place on a watch costing many times more. So what do I think of the San Martin SN0144? Well, in my opinion, it's probably their best watch to date, but mainly because of the improved movement. In recent years, San Martin have really stepped things up, and the fact they are making more and more original designs can only be a good thing. In fact, I can see a day, probably not too far away, when they stop making homages altogether. That said, it's very hard to design any watch that doesn't have some sort of resemblance to something else. In summary, I'm impressed, and I mean very impressed. That brings me to the end of this review. So if you enjoyed it, please click on the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave your comments below, and come on you Spurs, have a nice day.